Yo, what is up, everybody? Let's go back again. Another short horror story for you guys. This one is a one-shot written by OldSchoolHorror titled Something's Out There. Remember to use the links in the description below. Show love to them. Like, comment, subscribe. Dark roads lead to dark places. These were the words which went through Jake Harris's mind as he was driving on the lonely country road. He was coming from a dark place, a place which was not physical. It was in his past, and no matter how fast he was driving, he couldn't get out of it. Guilt is a dangerous feeling. It was eating him for years, so he was driving away from the big city. He needed some time on his own. The state of Wisconsin proved to be an excellent choice for him. Jake's late parents had a cabin somewhere north in the woods. He was headed in that direction in order to escape for a few days. Sleepiness crawled over him, and he had a hard time concentrating on the road. He was driving for many hours now. But driving was also a thing which he loved. Long roads were his favorite. Since his wife and son had died, he was often on the road. Sometimes Jake just got into the car and drove off to nowhere. The road wasn't lit very well. It was a country road after all. It hadn't been rehabilitated since 1980. Now, in 2005, condition was already decayed by weather and because of the high frequency of truck traffic. Now, the trucks tried to avoid this road as much as possible because of poor condition. Many of the lights weren't working, and nobody bothered repairing them. Jake had to pay extra attention to the road and anything on the side. He didn't want to risk getting a deer or a wild boar. He reached a wooded area. I must be close, he thought. Pressed the gas pedal a little harder. After passing a dangerous curve, Jake spotted one of the light poles. Right behind the light pole, there was a sign which stated that there's a gas station about 1 mile down the road. He glanced at the instrument panel. It showed that there's still some gas in the tank. Glancing back at the sign, he saw that the light wasn't working properly. It kept fading, then brightening again. It was a strange occurrence. Jake couldn't remember seeing anything like that before. Then his eyes caught something near its shadows. It looked like there was a person standing there. For a moment, he thought he saw a pair of circular red eyes. Or were they red lights? He slowed down a bit, but couldn't see more. So, he kept on driving. The front lights of his car flickered erratically, and he was in line of sight. They were even out for a few seconds. Radio went crazy, switching channels in a chaotic manner, until he got past the sign. After about 30 yards or so, everything went back to normal. This strange event woke him up from his lethargic state. Jake thought that his battery might not be working properly. Faulty wiring combined with some interference might explain both of the phenomena. It was weird, however, that they happened at the same time. Coincidence like this had a tiny chance of happening. God, I'm tired, he thought, and sped up some more in order to reach the gas station as soon as possible. A few minutes of rest, and he'll be on his way. Maybe a cup of coffee would be a good idea. Jake hoped to find a vending machine there, and if strange events won't repeat themselves, then it will be alright. Continue. The tired man kept looking around to see if he can spot anything unusual between the trees. He couldn't see anything out of the ordinary. There were only oak and maple trees everywhere he looked. Lush vegetation surrounded the road from both sides. The dark parts, though, made him feel uneasy. He had to slow down and drive with extra care when going through those parts where the lights were out. The gas station appeared in front of him. It was a well-lit place, but not big. In front of the station, where the pumps had been placed, was covered by a metallic roof supported by an old steel structure. He then stopped his red 1993 BMW at one of the pumps and filled up the tank. Another car was parked at the other pump. There were only 4 of them. When Jake looked inside, he saw a woman and a little girl through the windows. They were looking around as if they didn't know what to buy. He looked around again, but couldn't see anything. Lights were all bright around the place, so he wasn't able to discern much of anything far away. What he had seen earlier left an uneasy feeling inside of him. A shadow with a strange shape. Or was it his imagination? He got out of the car and pulled up the zipper of his leather jacket. It was a little windy around here. Autumn had already arrived, so the weather kept getting colder each day. His legs had a hard time walking. He had spent a considerable time in a seated position, so his joints felt heavy and rusty. Jake wasn't too old. In fact, he was only 44, and still as healthy as a man can be at that age. The stubble on his face already turned into a beard. He hadn't shaved for a few days. His sunken cheeks and droopy eyes betrayed tiredness and past heavy encounters with the bottle. He filled up the tank, then went inside the station and bought himself a coffee from the vending machine. He waited for the clerk while listening to the pleasant music which was playing in the background. It must have been the radio, but he couldn't see where it was. Then the gas station clerk came to the counter a few seconds later. He was a tall black guy, also a little skinny. The man didn't look tired at all, maybe a little bored. He had thick lips and dark brown eyes, characteristic of African American people. Jake paid for the gas. Before he could leave, an agitated man rushed inside. He was in his 50s and sported an enormous belly. The blue baseball cap on his head was dirty and soaked in sweat. The man's hairy chest was heaving. Jake could see that because of the partially unbuttoned striped shirt the man was wearing. Hey, something's out there. What? There's something out there I saw. What's out there? I don't know. So what? Maybe it was a man. Yeah, but he was black. No shit. I'm black too, man. No, not like that. He was completely black. I'm completely black too. No, not like that. Look, about a mile from here, that way. Near the road. I saw it too. Look, I don't know what the two saw, but I ain't seen shit right. So with all due respect, please stop talking crazy stuff. Scaring the lady and her little daughter. He pointed towards the woman and child. They were close by. The woman was nice-looking brunette with long curly hair and had a decent physique. He was talking to her daughter, who also had brown hair and an angelic face. The little girl looked about 10 years old. Look, man, I think that what we've seen was just a trick. No, it wasn't. Look, I saw it moving. The lights in my car went out. I barely got here, man. Couldn't see a damn thing. Come on, man. Cut the bullshit. We're all trying to get through the night. So please, calm your ass down. Just after the clerk finished the sentence, the lights on the road went out. They all threw concerned looks towards the road. See what I mean? Are you people satisfied now? Oh, come on. Them lights weren't repaired in 100 years. Damn it. Alright, then I'm out of here. Whatever that thing was, it's coming. Hey, was it beside the big road sign? Sort of. It was further down the road, by the light post, not far away from the sign. The light wasn't on. Probably wasn't working. Anyway, I'm not sticking around much. Crept the fuck out of me. The guy's crazy. But deep down inside, Jake knew that the other man was right. Yeah, man, but haven't you said you seen it too? Look, honestly, I don't know what I've seen. Jake didn't like this. There was one more person who had seen the strange apparition, and there might have been something there after all. He didn't see it well, and didn't want to draw a conclusion. Might have just been a prank by local kids. He remembered a story from the teens. What he saw earlier was eerily similar to that. A long time ago, he and a few friends cut a piece of cardboard in order to resemble an evil face. Then they folded it up to look like a cylinder. After that, they glued a piece of cardboard to the top and one to the bottom. It resembled a jack-o'-lantern in the end. They cut a hole in the back, put a candle inside. Then they stuck the thing on a tree in the park, their hometown. After nightfall, a young boy and girl came to have some fun, where nobody could see them. When they noticed it, they got scared and ran away screaming. Jake smiled at the thought. He still saw their scared faces. It sure looked like one of those pranks. The woman and the girl just arrived at the counter, and the woman wanted to pay. Jake looked at the woman and her child. They both looked back at him, smiled. He did the same, then headed to the door. Don't even think about it, he thought. You don't deserve it. The little girl's face struck him. He resembled his late son, Clark. The girl had the same cheeks, very similar nose, and the look in her eyes, just like Clark's. She was smiling with her eyes too. She was beautiful. Her smile brought back some painful memories. These memories dated back 4 years, and Jake hated them as much as he hated himself. His wife and his son were no more because of him. Only death could save him, the guilt he was feeling. He didn't start a new life since their death. He couldn't. The road was his salvation when he wasn't working. Jake was driving because this way he'd avoid the damn bottle. He couldn't drink himself to death being behind the wheel. His life mattered little to him, and he didn't want to kill anybody else. Sometimes he was fantasizing about saving somebody else at the expense of his own life in order to die, at least, half at peace. Jake walked out the front door and saw the big guy driving out the station. He was driving an old pickup truck, and Jake was wondering how it was still in one piece and didn't fall apart 100 years ago. The man wasn't hesitating much. He must have stepped on the gas really hard because he was out of the road in no time. The fat man was speeding away, his decrepit excuse of a car, no working lights, and he disappeared behind the trees. He didn't get far, however, as Jake heard tires screeching and then loud crashing noise. Crashing noise was quickly followed by a harsh metallic one, then an elongated scream. Jake couldn't see anything because of the lush vegetation surrounding the station, but he knew it was bad. Rushed back inside right away. Hey, I think the big guy had an accident. Alright, I'm coming right away, said the clerk. Grabbed the flashlight. He then ran outside, right behind Jake. The woman and the child remained inside. The woman didn't want her daughter to see anything related to an accident. Jake reached the man's fat car. It looked like the man tried to avoid something on the road. Something he saw too late. The car hit an enormous tree and now lay on the side of the road, smoking. The two men looked inside the car, but they couldn't see the driver. They saw right away that the steering wheel was bloody. It was an old car, so it most likely didn't have an airbag. I mean, even if it had one, it obviously wasn't working. They noticed that the right-hand door wasn't where it should have been. It was ripped out of its hinges and lying about 5 yards away between the trees. The impact didn't look so forceful for the door to be that far away. Even for a wreck of a car like a pickup truck, it appeared impossible. What the hell happened here? Look, man, I don't know. No sign of the fat dude. Both men then looked around the car and under it. The men even searched their surroundings, but they found nothing. Jake's guts twisting, turning. The sight of the red-eyed shape came back to him. If it were only for him to see it, it would have been fine. The really unnerving fact was that the fat guy had also seen something even closer to the station. What if that thing reached the station? Maybe the road lights turning off were a sign that it was here. Look, it's a mess, man. Yeah, but where the hell did he go? Look, I don't know, but let's not just stand here. I'm gonna call emergency. Yeah, that's a good idea because I heard a scream. That door, something took him. Yeah, man, something big. But I ain't gonna wait here to see it. Alright, man, let's go. Let's get back inside. The men were heading back towards the station. Right before turning from the main road onto the driveway, they met the woman and her daughter. Hey, what are you doing? Not safe here. But Jake saw that they were both trembling. Mister, the lights went out. Yeah, thought it was strange, so we came outside. We didn't feel safe inside. We heard something. Yeah, there were sounds coming from the back. Alright, look, let's get back first, then we'll see. They all went back to the station. The clerk was in front with the flashlight. The girls were behind him, and Jake in the back. For a short time, he turned and walked backwards. He kept his eyes on the road, but couldn't see a thing. The night was still, and nothing moved on the moonlit road. Not a car passed as he arrived. It really did seem like an abandoned road. He was wondering why the owner of the gas station hadn't gone out of business. It seemed that the owner made little money out here. Jake turned, found himself staring at the woman's hips. He liked how they swayed. She wore tight jeans which accentuated her curves. A thin jacket, made of some material which resembled leather, covered the upper body. Beautiful woman, thought Jake again, then looked away, distaste. The distaste was for him because he began fantasizing about some woman or people dying. In the end, he thought, primal urges always win. My name is Curtis, by the way. Hi, I'm Jenna. This is my daughter, Claire. Not the best circumstances to make friends, huh? Definitely not. I'm Jake. Nice to meet you. Alright, I'm gonna check the brake panel out back. Alright, Curtis. I'm staying here with the ladies. Curtis went around the building, and Jake remained with Jenna and Claire. The little girl was hugging her mother. Jenna was keeping her hand protectively over Clara's shoulder. Jake then crouched in front of the girl, smiled comfortably at her. She smiled back. How old are you, Claire? I'm 10. Well, Claire, me and Curtis are gonna find out what's happening, and then... He couldn't finish because there was a loud curse coming from behind the building. Motherfucker. It was Curtis. Alright, stay here. Don't drive away because we don't know what's out there. Jake ran after Curtis and found him frozen, a blank stare on his face. When he turned toward the breaker panel, he saw what frightened the clerk. Blood and brains covered the panel surrounding wall. That guy's body was on the ground near the panel. His face was gone, along with about half of his head. Now they understood why there was no light at the station. The thing that took the man from his pickup truck brought him here, bashed his head to a bloody pulp on the breaker panel, which got damaged. What the hell? Asked Jake. He couldn't really say anything else. Look, this is why we got no electricity. Panel's broken. I'm calling 911. Jake and Curtis then ran back to the girls. They could see right away that something was wrong. What's wrong? Nothing. Come on, come inside, said Jake as calmly as possible. Oh, wait. What happened back there? Look, let's just go inside, please. The girls obeyed, and after they entered, they saw Curtis frantically buttoning his phone. Could somebody please tell me what's wrong? Jake then took her by the hand and pulled her away from Claire, and quickly told her about the body. She gasped in fright, but tried to muffle it with her hand. Jake told her they would try to call the authorities, solve the problem without Claire knowing much of it. Protecting the little girl was imperative. He didn't want her to be traumatized at such an early age. Damn, my signal is bad. Here, let me try the landline. picked up the phone, dialed 911, then waited. Somebody picked it up, then the line went dead. After a few more times, it worked again. The line didn't go dead right away, so he could speak to some extent, but then it went dead again. Did it work? I don't know. I talked to an operator, but I'm not sure she could hear me right. Let's hope they received at least where we are. So what now? We wait. For what? Can't even be sure if help is on the way or not. Because the thing that did, Jake began, didn't realize it is a mistake and stopped mid-sentence. What thing? Nothing, honey. Could you please help Curtis find what he was looking for? Yeah, sure. Look, sorry for scaring your daughter, but going away is risky. We don't know what's out there. Then why is waiting here a better option? That thing could be anywhere, even inside. Yeah, I know. But I saw the fat guy drive away. Now he's dead, alright? Looks like we don't have a right option. No, not really. The only sure thing is that being outside is deadly. Also, there has to be something with the lights. Yo, what do you mean? The road outside is not well lit. Damn politicians ain't want to fix shit here. Yes, I know. The thing is, when the fat guy left, his lights weren't working. Yeah, he told us, man. I remember now, but what's your point? Yeah, what's with the lights? He also said his lights went out when he saw something on the roadside. I saw it too. When I got close to it, the lights went downright crazy. You mean like in the horror movies? I don't like horror movies. Yeah, something like that. And that thing, it was not human. You listening to yourselves? Really? Horror movies? Monsters? You two must have smoked something. Alright, come with me. Excuse me? Look, just come with me. I'll show you something. I won't hurt you, don't worry. Alright. Watch my daughter, Curtis. Yes, ma'am, no problem. Jake took a flashlight from Curtis and led the way outside. He knew it wasn't a good idea at all, but he also wanted to make sure that Jenna understood the situation they were in. They went back to where the breaker panel was, along the dead man. What the fuck? What? What's wrong? There should have been a dead body here. Oh my God, said Jenna, and her hands jumped to her mouth. The bloodstains were still there. Bits of brain were still plastered to the panel. It looked like something bashed the poor man's head against the panel with substantial force. Oh my God, is that? Looks like a tongue? They stared for a second at the fat man's tongue, which laid in a small puddle of blood a few yards from the panel. Jake noticed that the bloodstains on the ground continued all the way towards the forest. He shone his light on the ground where the body used to be, and traced the blood-red streak till it disappeared in the darkness of the trees. That thing dragged the body into the woods. Yeah, but why? I don't know, maybe to eat it? Maybe. I don't know. But why leave it here first? Take it away later. Jake froze after his light beam fell on something he didn't see before. He gasped, and Jenna threw a half-frightened, half-worried look at him. What's that? They went closer in order to see what made the man stare, so dumbfounded, at the ground. There, on the decades-old asphalt, near the bloody drag marks, a name was painted on the ground. Jake couldn't believe his eyes. The moment he saw the bloody name on the ground, he knew that tonight's events aren't random. They have something to do with him. When he was pondering the implications, Jenna interrupted him. Clark? Who the hell is Clark? He was my son. Was? He died. I'm sorry. Yeah, thanks. Let's get back to... Then a loud scream interrupted him. It was Clara. Couldn't have been anybody else. Oh no, Clara! Shouted Jenna, and ran back towards the front of the station. Jake followed. A stream was light, illuminating the driveway from inside. It looked like somebody was searching for something. Mommy? It's alright, honey, I'm here. What happened? A monster wanted to take me. Curtis chased it away. Hey, y'all need to get inside. They followed the clerk's instructions and hurried in. He was trembling from head to toe. His chest was heaving, flashlight in his right hand was shaking. What happened? He said she wanted some candy, you know, so I let her search for candy. He wandered away, then I heard the scream, so I ran to her. She was by the big glass wall in the front. I pointed the light to her, then I saw the thing we were talking about behind her. Jenna held her hands to her chest like she was having a heart attack. She felt relieved because Clara was still alive, but she also knew that her daughter's life had almost been ended. Alright, then what happened next? It disappeared. It dissolved in the thin air. I can't explain it. I couldn't see much, but it was big, man. The light made it go away like you've said before. Will the monster come back, Mommy? I don't know, honey. All I know is that we will not let it hurt you, alright? The girl just nodded and buried her head into her mother's shirt. He didn't want to let her go. Jenna really wanted to protect her daughter. What kind of mother wouldn't? The problem was, he didn't know how. He had to rely on the two men who were as lost as she was. Yeah, doesn't like light. That's why he took out the breaker panel. And that's why it could scare the fat guy. His lights weren't working. Yo, the fat dude said his lights were out when he passed the thing on the road. You passed it too, but your lights are working, right? Yeah, I think so. When I passed the thing the first time, my lights flickered, my radio went nuts. It all returned to normal though, after I got further down the road. How come your lights were still working? I don't have the vaguest idea. Your lights were okay when you were on the road, right? Yes, but I came from the opposite direction. Okay. So, we don't know what the hell this thing is. So we better make sure that we are surrounded by light all the time. How many flashlights do we have? We have 4. One is mine, the other's yours, and we still have 2 extra. Jake took one of the lights and gave it to Jenna. He took it and looked in his eyes with compassion, but also some hope. Jake seemed to her like a man who could save her, Clara. Not that Curtis seemed less capable to her, but she saw something in Jake. She didn't know for sure what it was. Maybe she saw in his eyes that he wouldn't hesitate a second to save him. Hey Curtis, have you seen anything unusual here lately? Anything which might explain all this? Yo, look, I'm working here for a month or so. Not sure as hell I ain't seen anything crazy going on. Sit around here and get weird until your ass showed up last night. Jake lowered his head. He was thinking. Maybe these events are truly tied to him somehow. But he couldn't understand how. I don't know, Curtis. Let's just get through the night, okay? Let's do it, man. Hopefully our batteries are gonna last. Aren't you selling flashlights here? Jenna asked, perplexed. No, ma'am. This was the same question I asked the boss when I'm coming here to work. He said that he plans to sell them in the future, but not yet. Business strategies, you know. Or lack of them. Shit, Jake exclaimed after their flashlights went out. Darkness enveloped them, and they felt icy fingers crawling up their backs. Clara hugged her mother more tightly. The two men tried desperate moves to restart the lights, but it was futile. Just when they thought it was all over, they heard sirens. Soon, a police cruiser turned onto the driveway with its blue and red lights whirling around. People inside the station died in relief. Finally, they had been rescued, and the ordeal was over. At least, this is what they thought. Better stated, this is what they all wanted to be true. The car didn't get too close because its siren and lights went dead in an instant. The driver tried to start the engine a few more times, but was unsuccessful. He also tried the radio, but it was dead. Jake opened the front door and was heading out to meet the police officers, but then halted in his tracks. To his right, between the tall bushes, he saw something moving. At first, he thought it was something in the wind, but no, it had an abnormal form. A tall, dark shape emerged onto the driveway. It had no visible features, only an outline. Otherwise, it was complete blackness. Outside was dark, but the visibility was still acceptable because the sky wasn't clouded. The faint moonlight somewhat illuminated the surroundings. Other than that, there was nothing else. No lights were working, but the sheer blackness of the creature was still obvious. It looked tall, about 8 or 9 feet, and had wings. They resembled the wings of a bat, only much larger, and they were only retracted. The creature also had 2 horns, jutting forward from its forehead, which then curled upwards. They couldn't see any facial features. Its hands were long and ended in thin fingers, pointy claws. The creature's legs were like that of a bird or a bat. Digitigrade, but with long fingers and claws. The only feature which stood out, the blackness, were the eyes. Round and red, positioned in front of the face like those of humans. They were looking straight at the cruiser. Jake told the others to stay inside and began signaling the officers to watch out. He was waving both his hands frantically, shouting. He knew that this was his most idiotic thing he could do, but didn't want to have more people on his conscience. His wife and son were enough for him. Watch out! Watch out! To your left! The creature was already marching towards the car. Those inside surely noticed Jake signaling and approached the menace, because both front doors were opened with force. The driver couldn't get out because as soon as the door opened, the black thing made a tremendous leap and landed beside the car. This was when Jenna took her daughter and rushed to the back of the station. He didn't want her to witness anything of what was going to happen. What the fuck? Came the panicked shout from the police officer as the creature grabbed the door and ripped it off like it was nothing. The passenger side female officer jumped out and fell on her butt while screaming in terror. Her colleague, the driver, managed to somehow pull out his sidearm and began firing. Didn't matter. The thing was not even flinching as the bullets went right through it. Jake assumed that the shots could have been off target because of the distance between the shooter and the monster was only about 6 feet. Jake was standing there, transfixed, as the black thing, with raging red eyes, got hold of the police officer and yanked him out of the car. And then, a terrifying roar spread its wings. It was one hell of a sight. Creature's wingspan was at least 10 yards, maybe even more. Police officer was alive and screaming, but he couldn't do much against the winged darkness. It jumped in the air, then, with a mighty flap of its wings, it got even higher. Then, each consecutive flap got further and further till it disappeared in the night sky with its prey. "Come here! Hey, officer!" Jake was trying to get the attention of the policewoman, who was still lying on the ground. She looked at him, and Jake saw with fear in her eyes. Maybe she's in shock, thought Jake. He was right. The officer's look was lost and confused. Her eyes showed panic. Jake extended his arm, and only after calling to her a few times did she wake up from her stupor. Hey, come with me. Not safe here." All right. He helped her get inside the station. And when Jake opened the front door, a beam of light hit his face. "What's that?" "Oh, sorry. Looks like the flashlights are working again." "What the hell is that thing, man? I can't believe this shit." "Yeah, me either. But I don't know what it is. Looks like a bat straight out of hell." "Are we going to survive this night?" Jenna asked as she glanced at Jake. He only sighed. He didn't have an answer for that. After witnessing the formidable abilities of whatever the winged thing was, he wasn't sure at all if they survived. Deep in his guts, he felt that they can't fight this thing, and neither can they run away. Jake put these thoughts aside and wanted to do something. The sight of the crying little girl and the look on her mother's face broke his heart. "Look, we have to do something, man." "I know, Curtis. Thinking." "Look, all we know is that its weakness is light, and it can interfere with electronics." "Yo, that's right. Problem is that we need electronics to have lights. I sure ain't starting no campfire here." "Okay, but what about the generator? Don't you have some kind of backup generator for emergencies?" "I don't know. As I said, I've been working here for a month. They don't show me much when I started." There is a generator," said the policewoman. The others just looked at her without saying a word, like she was some kind of alien. They almost forgot she even existed. She was young, close to 30, but not yet there. Her long blonde hair was tied up in a ponytail, and her otherwise harmonious face were now contorted under the pressure of fear and shock. She was sitting on the floor with her back to the counter, hands on her knees and head down. Sorry, ma'am. Are you sure? Yes. My name is Sarah. My brother used to work here. He had told me that he had to use the generator once because of a power outage. And do you know where it might be? Because I ain't see it around here. Somewhere in the back. I don't know. Might be in the equipment room. Go check. Alright, I'm gonna go check it out. Alright, I'll come with you, Curtis. Can you, take care of the girls? Yes, of course. I think I'm okay now. Just go. The two men rushed out, lighting their way with flashlights. Curtis was leading Jake to the back where they had found the body of the fat guy. The toilets were here, and also a small room for different tools and equipment. Curtis fumbled a little with the key, but soon the door opened, and they were greeted by a dirty and cluttered rectangular room. The smell of dust and gasoline hit their nose right away. Alright, let's see what we have here. As Curtis and Jake began searching. After a few minutes, they found it. It was a small, portable generator. It worked on gasoline, and it wasn't the thing they were hoping to find, but it was better than nothing. Look, I have to find some gas to fill this baby up, but we'll see if it's working or not. I really hope it's gonna work. Yeah, Jake, we'll see about that. Look at this, man. A searchlight. We could use this, baby. Yeah, damn right, said Jake, and inspected the object, which was larger than the flashlight and had a long cable attached to it. Their flashlights flickered wildly, switched off. 3 screams erupted from the front, and the lights switched back on. They both got startled by the sounds, and Curtis darted for the door with a panther's agility. No, said Jake. We'll need light as soon as possible. Alright, man, go, Curtis replied, and his hands were already shaking. Jake ran to the front to see what had happened. When he reached the entrance and looked to the glass wall, he almost screamed himself. The upper torso of a man was crawling towards him, fixed eyes on Jake. Sarah was standing in the doorway without a clue about what he should do. Jenna was inside. She was cradling her daughter, so she doesn't see horrible events. The mangled body was inching towards Jake, and he didn't have a clue what to do. He recognized him by the uniform. He was the taken police officer, more correctly, the remaining half of him. His first thought was that he should help the man, but something told him that this shouldn't be happening. Not normal for a man to crawl who knows how much after he's ripped in two. The shock and blood loss must be extreme in cases. He remembered an event which he witnessed as younger. It taught him for life that he should not play the speed limits. Years ago, a young man was racing like crazy in his new motorbike. Parents just bought him the bike because it was his birthday. The guy lost control of the bike, side of a car, and flew sideways straight to a pole. His body cut in 2 pieces. Poor bastard was still alive for a few seconds because of the adrenaline. He tried to crawl to his lower body, somehow put it back. The paramedics lifted him up. All his insides had fallen onto the ground. Jake saw his eyes was crawling to gather up his guts. It didn't look like the eyes of this man. These were evil and resolute. His suspicions became reality. The crawling torso spoke in an almost feminine voice. "Why did you let us die?" Jake backed up a few steps with his mouth hanging open. He couldn't believe the voice he was hearing. "It's your fault, Jake. It's all your fault." Jake kept looking at the corpse, then to Sarah, who was still standing in the doorway. Her face showed bewilderment, right? He looked at Jake for answers, because she knew that he had some. At least, this was she concluded, when looking at his face, which betrayed many feelings. "Hey, come inside." Jake couldn't say a word. Old feelings rushed back to him like a torrent. The floodgates had been opened. That which was just slowly flowing through recently healed cracks came down on him again, bathing him in a shower of sorrow. He crashed to the ground and hid his face in his hands. Sarah hurried to him, bent down to the grieving man, put her hand over his shoulder. "Come on, don't do this. We need you." I killed them." "You didn't kill anybody. Now come inside, will you?" The man woke up from his stupor, got up. Sarah led him back inside the station. His legs were barely obeying him. His mind was in some other place, a dark place. After Sarah brought Jake back inside, Sarah and Jenna looked at him questioningly. "What was that? How could that man still be alive?" I don't know. He wasn't." "What do you mean?" "He couldn't have been alive. It was just a sick game played by us, by that wingman thing." "But what about the voice?" "That voice was not him, I tell you." "But whose voice was it? Tell me that voice has something to do." Yes, it has. It was my wife's voice. Almost." "Your wife?" "Yes. She died 4 years ago, along with my son, Clark." "Oh. Really sorry to hear that. But I don't understand what that's got to do with what's happening tonight." "I don't either, believe me." So, what's the story? Well, the fucked up story is I was married and had a son. He was 10 years old. He looked very much like your daughter Clara. What happened to him? Asked Clara. Well, our relationship wasn't that good, you know. So, I sought some fun elsewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah, you cheated on her. Yes, that's right. And there's not a single fucking day on this earth when I don't regret doing that. You found out eventually. We had those unavoidable arguments. Then you filed for divorce. Got divorced, got custody, but I got to see my son at least. What happened then? One night, they went to their grandmother's. It was a night like this. We were driving on an abandoned country road. She was tired, found herself face to face with a truck. Couldn't avoid it. My God, I'm sorry, said Sarah. Yeah, me too. Every damn day. The weird thing is that Clark found himself almost all his head missing, several yards away in the forest. Some wild animal dragged him from the wreck. It's like the body of the first victim. Was there a first victim? Asked Sarah. Yes, replied Jenna. In the back. And what about the next one? When the emergency services found my wife, only her upper half was left in one piece. The engine was pushed forward, and it crushed everything from her waist down. Ah, I see now. You think that these events have something to do with that? Definitely. I don't know how, but they are related. If I hadn't cheated on her, they could still be alive. Look, it wasn't your fault, said Sarah. Yeah, cheating on her wasn't an agreeable thing, but their death wasn't your fault. Yeah, my mind keeps telling me that. But what is burning in here, telling me otherwise. Hey, where's Curtis? Oh, damn it. I left him in the back. Alright, look, stay here. When he reached the equipment room, he saw that the door is ajar, but there was no sign of Curtis. The generator and the reflector had been pulled into the doorway. It looked like he was trying to get it to the front, but then something happened. Damn it, damn it, damn it, Jake shouted, and he began searching the surroundings for Curtis. His heart was racing. He didn't want to lose Curtis. In fact, he didn't want to lose anybody. He wanted to make sure that they all survive. But it seemed that it is not a plausible task. Jake kept calling for Curtis, but no answer came. Only the eerie sounds of the night greeted him. Crickets were chirping endlessly in the forest, and from deep within the woods, owl hooted. A harbinger of death, he thought briefly. Is this his destiny? One minor mistake, and then only pain and suffering? He didn't deserve this, he thought. Not this much, at least. Others shouldn't pay with their lives just because he was stupid once. Having had no success in finding Curtis, he took the generator and the searchlight, took them to the front. When he reached the front door, the woman already knew that Curtis was gone. Did you find them? No, there wasn't a single sign of him. Oh no. Are we going to die one by one? Mommy, I don't want to die. I'm sorry, honey. I didn't mean it. Mommy's just scared, that's all. We'll figure something out soon and we'll go home, alright? We really have to do something, said Sarah, because this thing is going to kill us all. I don't want to scare anybody, but we have to get out of here. I agree, Sarah, but what the hell can we do? We don't know where that thing is. We don't know how we can stop it. Alright, look, let's start the generator so we have some light. Then we wait until morning. I have no better idea. Alright, I'll try to start it. He took the generator further inside and switched it on. It was working fine. He then connected the searchlight to the generator. After switching it on, bright light filled the place. It was much more powerful than their flashlights. The steady roaring of this generator's sound was a welcoming one. Ah, great. It's working, exclaimed Jenna. Yeah, let's hope the gas is gonna last. Alright, Sarah, so now what? Jake then said, now we wait. We'll have a few more hours till sunrise. They all gathered close to one another and waited. The light was comforting. Jake checked from time to time the generator to see the level of gasoline. The machine was eating up the gas at a steady state, but it seemed that it will last till sunrise. For an hour or so, nothing happened. Clara was sleeping in her mother's arms. Jenna was sleeping too. Sarah and Jake were awake. They sipped from the bottle from time to time. Not too much though, so they won't get drunk. The two of them were talking in a low voice about many things. After some uneasy shuffling, Clara woke up and began waking up her mother. Mommy, I need to pee. Yeah, alright. I need to pee too. Hey, you two shouldn't go alone, said Sarah. Don't worry, I'll go with them. Look, I'm coming too. I also have to use the bathroom, and it's better if we all go together. Damn whiskey. And drink on the job. Alright, let's try to make it quick. Take the flashlights with us. At least we'll know when it comes. They took the flashlights, switched them on. They were working fine. The trip to the back to the station was uneventful. After all of them finished what they had to do, Jake started leading them back inside. Then the light from inside went out, and they heard a few clattering sounds. The flashlights flickered again. The sign something bad happening. Something not natural. Sarah unholstered her sidearm, and Jake could hear sighing deeply. They were standing at the corner of the building. "What do we do now?" asked Sarah. "I don't want to die, Mommy." "Don't worry, honey, I'm here." "Alright, let's check," said Jake. "A winged creature couldn't have done it. It hates the light." They all inched their way around the corner. The entrance was only a few feet away. After a brief glance inside, they saw that there was nothing moving. Only suspicious thing was, the light was not working. Sarah opened the door, then she went inside. Jake followed, and after him, Jenna and Clara. They waited here for some seconds and listened. Nothing moved. Everything was still. Jake inched towards the generator, which lay broken on the floor. It looked like something took a sledgehammer to it and broke it into pieces. Gasoline was lying on the ground in a great pool. "Who's there?" shouted Sarah. "What?" "Something moved there." "Wait," said Jake. A faint rustling came from the back, but they couldn't see anything because of the overwhelming darkness. The smell of spilled gasoline was heavy in the air. They had to be careful not to do something stupid, ignite it accidentally. Sarah and Jake took careful steps towards the back. This was when they heard the flapping of heavy wings from outside. Both of them turned towards a glass wall, but couldn't see a thing. They were between shelves anyway, and it was dark too. The flapping came once again from the outside. Sarah was shaking, and the gun in her hands was rattling as her hands trembled. Jenna and Clara moved back from the front wall. The next moment, Jake heard Sarah scream. He turned and saw her being grabbed by something. She screamed again as a black figure bit into her neck. Jake jumped to help her, and that was when he saw that the black figure was Curtis. Or was he? It looked up and growled. Blood was gushing from Sarah's neck. It bit through the jugular. Jake knew in an instant what that had meant. He only had about half a minute to live. Jake grabbed the hand which was around Sarah's neck and then punched Curtis in the face. Curtis drew back, loosened his grip. Sarah slid out. With her remaining strength, turned and fired 2 times. The bullets hit their target in the chest, and Curtis tumbled back. He fell, hitting a shelf with his back, and fell on his butt. There was no blood coming from the wounds. You're all gonna die. Curtis, man, what's wrong with you? But Jake knew he wasn't talking to Curtis. You let me die, just like you let the police officer die. Just like you let the fat man die. Just like you let... Shut up! This is what you're telling your demons when they won't be silenced? Your demons have come alive, Jake. They will not stop until you are dead. Don't you see? Everything is your fault. Do everybody a favor and just fucking die, you pathetic shit. Curtis's head lolled, and he didn't move anywhere. Jake was looking at him, stunned. The bad part was that he believed Curtis. Jake now saw clearly what these events meant. He looked at Sarah, who was on the ground, clutching at the wound on her neck. Quickly tore off his piece of shirt, folded it up, and pressed it on her wound. He was determined not to let Sarah die. He didn't deserve it. The only one who deserved to die was him. Jenna came to the side. Clara stood a few feet behind them. Oh my God, you going to make it? I don't know. What happened to Curtis? Why did he attack Sarah? I don't know. Somehow that creature can control people after they die. I can't believe this. Me neither. But I have to end it. Sarah gasped, and she grabbed Jake by the sleeve of his jacket. Save. I won't make it. Save them, please. No, you won't die. You can't die. It didn't matter. Sarah was already drifting away. Some seconds later, he didn't breathe anymore. The wound on her neck too big, and the blood seeped out anyway. Jake was furious and grief-stricken. Is this all really his fault? How can that be? All this because of a past mistake? He took Sarah's sidearm from her lifeless hand and checked it. It was a revolver, and it still had 4 bullets in it. After checking her pockets, he found some more bullets and replaced the 2 missing. He looked at Jenna, then to her daughter. These 2 will make it out alive. He would do everything in his power to save them. Jake, what are you gonna do? Going to end it. Gasoline, which had flown out of the generator, gave him an idea. He went to one of the shelves, grabbed some duct tape. Jake also searched for some matches, soon found them. They were cheap, but the stock was plentiful. He took one of the hoses and began sprinkling gasoline all over the place, except the entrance. Then he taped the lever to the handle so the gas could flow without him holding the hose. He threw the thing to the ground, then went to Jenna. Look, that thing will come eventually. I think it wants to finish what it started. And what are you gonna do? I prepared a surprise for it. Look, when it comes, you two run as fast as you can. And what about you? Look, that thing won't stop until I'm dead. I have to face it before it hurts you or your daughter. Even if I kill myself, I can't be sure that I won't transform into a monster like Curtis did. I have to make sure that everything is gone. Alright. Look, I wish I had a choice, but it seems like the only one. Look, get your daughter and be ready. But where should we run? Away from the monster. If you have to run through the woods, do it. Don't hesitate. The flapping of wings came again. Jake braced himself near the pumps and readied the gun along with the matches. The creature came down top of the building. It let out a terrifying screech. Then they could hear its steps along the roof. Alright girls, be ready. They just nodded and waited beside the front door. The creature was taking its time. The steps sounded carefully, calculated. Jake's heart was beating. It wanted to jump out of his chest. The girls were terrified, but eager to get the hell out of there. The creature jumped down from the building beside the girls. They both screamed and ran. But when the creature wanted to dart after them, Jake pointed the pistol at it and began firing. Hey, here I am. Come on, come and take me, you ugly bastard. The monster turned and stared at Jake with its red eyes. This was when Jake really understood what had happened. Not only had it had something to do with him, it was him. All the grief and pain he had felt since the death of his wife and his son came to life somehow. The monster had wanted him here. This is why the lights were still working when he had arrived. It was playing with Jake. It was feeding on his guilt. Jake didn't understand how this was possible, but it had happened, and it killed more people. He fired more shots, but they didn't hurt the monster. He got closer and closer. Jake saved the last bullet for himself and glanced behind them. Jenna and Clara had already run away. Monster closed in. Jake took out the matches and lit one. You're coming to hell with me. And when it got closer, he threw the match at its feet. The gas lit up with an infernal roar. The creature cried in pain as the light hit and fire hurt it. When the fire reached Jake's legs and began engulfing him, he pointed the pistol to his head and pulled the trigger. A few seconds later, Jenna and Clara saw from the road as the underground gasoline containers exploded in a fiery blaze of light and heat. The cries of the creature reached their ears too. They saw the creature's body blazing body rise from the flames and dissolve in a few seconds into thin air.